Welcome to the Business Growth Podcast. Today I'm here with Barrett, the tax partner at GWCPA and the podcast host of The Art of Succession. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Leonard. I'm looking forward to talking.
So tell us a bit more. What do you guys do at GWCPA?
Sure. So we're a small-ish accounting firm, about 14 people, just outside of DC in the US. We're actually in Maryland. We are an 80-year-old traditional CPA firm that over the past 2.5 years, between me and my partner running the company, have completely shifted our model, working towards modernizing our firm, working towards getting away from tax season hours and a smaller base of clients. And I would say if we had like a specialty focus for our firm, it would be in multi-generational family businesses, succession planning, especially, hence the
Mhm.
podcast. So,
Yeah, okay. And tell us a little bit more. What are you doing in terms of modernizing the firm?
yeah. So the first thing, traditional CPA firm, uh, three, four partners in the past, each one would have their own services that they liked providing. They'd have their own client lists. They'd have their own even managers and staff that would work on their clients exclusively. So when my partner took over as managing partner 2.5 years ago, our first move that we did, because we were both on the same page about this, was getting rid of the silos. And so we want to have one client list for our company. And so I'm the tax partner, she's the attest partner, the financial statement partner. And so you're really going to see meetings with a client will experience meetings with two partners sometimes, two or three managers. We have a tax manager, an accounting, a bookkeeping manager, and a financial statements manager. And we just really wanted to get away from you have your clients, I have my clients, and we're running two different businesses under the same roof. So that was like step one is one client list, one purpose, who do we work with, and treat all the clients to that same level of service. So it's not like you're disadvantaged by having a bad partner. You're not at an advantage by having the good partner kind of thing. It's we want everybody to experience the same level of service. So that was step one. I mean, that decision has been in process since I came on about 8 years ago because I started working on her with her clients, and as we've bought out other partners, moved the entire client list that direction so far. So
Mm-hmm.
that's step one for us.
Hmm. And then I feel like is there more steps?
There's a lot
Like
more
you
steps.
you got some
Yeah.
okay.
We are primarily tax with a small number of bookkeeping clients. We do some financial statements too. We got rid of audits a couple years ago because that was a higher level and very labor intensive and also specialty skill, and it didn't really align with our client list at the time. We were doing audits for like local unions and um, didn't really align with. We couldn't provide other services to them, so we got rid of audits. We got rid of nonprofit tax returns. That was like steps two and three. Last year, instead of, a lot of tax firms will have a minimum requirement for overtime. That's certainly how our firm was for many decades prior. But last year, we capped our team at 50 hours for the year or for the week. And we extended all of our clients. So spread out the tax season. Our goal really is with our clients to have an experience of meeting with us throughout the year. And if we're going over your finances on a monthly or quarterly basis, we're projecting your taxable income, we're paying in your estimated taxes. There's really no need to have a tax deadline at that point. It really is just the tax return gets filed and we just keep on moving through your operations. So that's the big shift for us. Um, and so better quality of life for our team. We didn't have them work Saturdays last year. If they wanted to get their 50 hours done in 5 days during the week, they were welcome to do that. Some of them did choose to work shorter days, but across the 6 or 7 days. So
Hmm.
that's been, what's brought us to this point, I think.
Yeah, okay. And what would you say is behind all these different initiatives with wanting to modernize the firm? Because most accounting practices aren't doing all this type of stuff. Where did that kind of like come from?
Yeah, I would say it's from my partner, Samantha. It's from her experience in the profession, my experience in the profession, working for the traditional model and seeing in our team, especially like burnout and people leaving public accounting, wanting to go get a better, healthier life.
Mhm.
monthly rhythm or annual rhythm, leaving public accounting and going into private industry. That's what started driving us at the time. That's all we were. We have to make quality of life better for our team, or there's not going to be anybody that wants to work here. Now the focus has shifted a little bit with AI, and we're like what we do today is not going to exist in the future because of what AI is going to do to tax preparation, to advisory, to financial statements, to just everything that we provide. And so that's kind of been what's taken that. We've already, you know, met the quality of life standard for our team, but what's driving us now is what's accounting going to look like 10 years from now, and are we positioned to be able to meet it where it needs to be?
And then that's a really good segue then. So how do you see where accounting is going to be in the next like 10 years from now?
So I've this is a soapbox of mine. I absolutely love this conversation. I am a tax preparer. I've been doing this for 20 years. I love taxes, but it's for me, it's not the volume of the tax returns that we do. It's not trying to get them out as quick as possible, as efficient as possible. I want to have the conversations with my clients. I love the doors that it opens into succession planning, as we've talked about, but like having a better understanding of your cash flow, the cash needs that you need to have in reserve to pay your taxes, but then can you hire more people? Can you move into other states? So that's like the advisory role that tax naturally leads into. I think actually AI is going to replace advisory even faster probably than the actual tax prep, which is still very tedious and takes a lot of inputs and making sense of it to get it on the tax form. So I think AI will replace the advisor portion even. But I think what business owners are going to want, and I'm definitely, out in the what is it, the blue ocean here talking about this one. I think business owners are going to want human interaction from their advisors. Even if you can get the tax return for cheap, you can get the advice for free from AI. You're going to want to sit across from somebody else who's a business owner who empathizes with you and knows what it's like to make tough decisions. It's like that ChatGPT told me we need to shut down this division, but there's 20 families that are going to be impacted by this decision. What else can we do to get around this? Or how I need to talk through this with you because I'm really struggling with this decision. And so I think even in that world, and we have core values at our company that we went through a rebranding and came up with our core values of empathy, accountability, empowerment, and foresight. And like my really niche position on this is when you subscribe to GW, you are paying us for our empathy, our accountability, our empowerment, and our foresight. And that's completely different from what most CPA firms would say. They have core values because they feel like they need to, but I'm saying, no, you're specifically paying us because you want us to bring that approach to your
Mhm.
advice.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that with saying like businesses still want to do business with other humans, and even if you get a AI robot, still having that human element because yeah, essentially it's like yeah, human to human type of thing. So
Yeah.
you know,
And I mean, we are trusted advisors. That's always been in the profession. People want to do business with people. But I'm pushing it even further and saying, what makes you different as a tax preparer than the tax preparer over there? And it's your core values.
mhm,
And that's what your whole company needs to deliver that same level of service. And so we
mhm,
really have to lean into something that we've largely ignored or just used for marketing purposes.
yeah. And then has your business implemented AI into it much?
Oh, for sure. So my partner and I have been using ChatGPT for coming up on 3 years
Mhm,
individually. We found out about 2 years ago at this point, March 2024. We found out that we were both using it individually, and we're like, I'm starting to use this on business stuff, not just hobbies. And we're like, we both saw this is where the future is going. We need to put this in the hands of our teammates. And so
mhm,
we bought a team plan for ChatGPT for our team, got everybody on it because we didn't want, what do they call it? The phantom use of them using it and being afraid to admit it. So 2 years ago, we put it in the hands of our team. We wrote a blog post on our website. We've been very vocal about it with our clients. This is what we are doing. This is how
mhm,
we're protecting your information, but these are the edges that we're pushing to make sure that it's going to be optimized and actually produce results. And we got that in the hands of our team, and it still took them about a year to really start to use it regularly. But yeah, I love seeing results, and that's my partner's first question whenever she gets a question from somebody on the team. Have you asked ChatGPT? Have you thrown it in there to see what it says?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's crazy the potential that you can do with ChatGPT and how quickly it does tasks that previously would take you a very long time to do.
Mhm.
And then aside from ChatGPT, is there any other like AI initiatives that you guys have implemented?
Yeah, so we actually on our website we have a custom GPT that anybody can use for free. It's got all of my resources, all of my videos, my podcast, everything is built into the knowledge base of this thing. So if you want to ask a question, um, it's just gwcpas.com/rgpt. It's right there on the main page, linked at the bottom. Anybody can ask it a question, and it's geared towards succession planning, but it would really do a good job of answering like what is our approach to any kind of business advisory decision. So that's one of them. We're using specific AI built for accountants. So Ask Blue Jay is a tax research. It's actually built on ChatGPT in a strategic partnership with them, but it only references like tax code and tax court cases. So it's very narrow and very detailed and specific. I'm the marketing partner. I'm using AI for all sorts of things in the marketing, from Opus clips for like video snippets, shorts, to generating blog content, rewriting paragraphs. Yeah, all over the place. So.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, sounds like you guys are pretty on top. That custom GPT sounds pretty awesome. I'm gonna definitely go check that out. I've seen a couple of like softwares that I use where they've kind of built something like that, but more just so it's very easy to use the software and for them to help you with it. But yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, that one actually started a year ago at this time, as a custom GPT built into ChatGPT, and you had
Mm.
to sign up for my email list to get access to it. And then, I started with that email list sending out weekly prompts of here's how to actually use it. Here's some things you can test in there. And about 6 months into it, I was like, not getting a lot of signups for the custom GPT, and I didn't really know how many people were using the custom GPT. And it's kind of behind a paywall at that point. And I'm like, the email list is doing a good job by itself as a standalone, and the custom GPT is something I want to do version two of. I want to upgrade the knowledge base. I want to improve it. So I separated the two. And so now we have that you don't have to sign up for our mailing list in order to gain access to it. You can just go use it on our site. But if you're interested in weekly training on AI, that's what the mailing list is for. And I've been doing
Yeah.
that for a year now. So that was really fun. That was a Sunday afternoon in June for me to just pull all the information together and embed it on our website. And that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of fun projects I like to do on the weekends.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. And then, so what's like the next stage of AI implementation for the business, or slash what would like
Mm.
if you could have another like AI robot to do anything in the business, what would you get it to do?
My next one that I'm working on, I mean, putting together custom GPTs and projects all the time. The next customer facing one that I want to do is I want to do a tax projection uh, custom GPT. So that's something on our website that anybody can use, ask a couple questions about their situation and produce like a here's your fourth quarter estimate, just a very base level tax projection. Um, what's awesome about custom GPTs, and I think this is where the benefit is for us to, share those core values, but also get that is so different than the old tools that every CPA firm would have that was like, here, put these calculators on your website, because there's no personality in those calculators. There's no, here's what I would do. Here's the approach I would take. And what we have the option to do when we do a custom GPT is I can put my approach to tax planning into that script of that custom GPT. And so you're not
Mm.
just getting a random tax projection. You're getting what GW's approach to how we would advise our clients on, what the smartest thing to do with bonus depreciation, Section 179, buying vehicles at the end of the year to save a little bit on taxes.
Mm.
What how our ethos to those decisions would go into that tax planning. And it's now available for you at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, 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 okay, nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I know there's like another person I had on that's yeah, like building something like that on their website as well, where you can just do more like customized based on what you said.
Yeah.
And
I've seen a lot of our vendors do that in the past year. So when I launched mine in December, I've got our marketing partner has a custom GPT. I actually pool, a pool YouTube channel that I listen to. They have their own custom GPT that you can like ask questions about your pool chemicals and everything like that. So I'm seeing a lot of companies implement this, and that's really awesome to see.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty good. And it's usually a lot more efficient than having like a live chat support person as
Oh
well.
yeah.
And you get the answer you need, you get it a lot quicker. Yeah, it's been game changing for some of the softwares that I've used it. Um, and then so what are some of the other projects that you guys are working on at the moment?
Hmm. Yeah, so the biggest one for this coming year is moving to subscription pricing. So we've always billed by the hour and invoiced at the end of the tax return, at the end of the project. We shifted away from that, from invoicing to retainers last year for the majority of our clients. And I've just spent, I don't know, 40, 50 something hours reconciling retainers here at the end of the year to come up with their amount owed or the credit that they get. And I'm just like, we have got to move away from this. And that, that kind of folds into where AI is going in the future. If you're still billing based on how much time it takes you to do something, and now AI will produce a tax return in, 5 minutes, if that, what are you billing for if you're still built around hours? And hourly proponents are like, there's too many variables in all these things, and so they act like theirs is perfect math, like perfect calculation, number of hours times a rate. And I'm like, well, there's a made up variable in that you're completely ignoring. Yes, you know how long it took, but your hourly rate is a made up variable. So if you can say that your hourly rate is $350, or you could
Mm,
be like some attorneys I've seen and say my hourly rate's $1,500. I'm like, if you can make that up and be able to justify that, then why can't you make up a value price? Why can't you quote the service in advance and don't pretend like yours is more scientific than a value price for the
mm,
service? So that's where we're moving. We're skipping past value pricing. One of my one of the books I've been reading for 15 years, Ron Baker, was big on value pricing. He's got a book that came out like 2 years ago about subscription pricing. There's a
mhm,
lot of content out there for like, the Netflixes, the Amazons of the world, and applying that to professional services firms. So
mhm.
that's the big one right now.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds really interesting. I have a few couple of people I've spoken with, and they are like what you said as well. If you're using AI to do the tax return, how do you do based on hourly bill rate because it does it so quickly? So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, what like how you're moving towards that. And then I know we're starting to run out of time here, so how about let's finish on. Tell me a bit more about like your podcast and where did the idea come behind like starting it?
Yeah, sure. So I've been a podcaster for almost 15 years. I had a number of audio podcasts back in the 2010s, on various topics with a buddy, buddy and a beer kind of podcast about various hobbies. But I never really had a business focus. And so I took a break for about 7 years from podcasting. And when I started here at GW in 2017, like my first question I had for my future partner as we're discussing the future of the firm is who's our target market? Like, if you want me to do social media, you want me to do marketing here alongside, CPA services, who am I talking to? And so when we went through our rebranding 2.5 years ago and settled on succession planning, multi-generational businesses, I'm like, aha, that's our audience. And so for that, I knew my next podcast was going to be a video podcast because that's where the market was going. And I knew that I wanted to do an interview podcast because I'd never done an interview podcast. I was nervous about it, scheduling, getting clients and, getting guests and booking it all out. That made me nervous. But I had the audience. I know who the audience was. And so as soon as that settled in, I was driving home one night and I'm like, I need to interview people who've bought their business from somebody else. That's my target audience. that's the target guest. We want to hear the stories of other people who've gone before us and the mistakes they made, the lessons they learned, so that as we're going through the same process, it hopefully improves our results as well.
Nice. Yeah, that's really interesting. And then so like how are you finding these guests and then like scheduling them on?
Yeah, so that was the hardest part. So I didn't publish the podcast until I had like 3 months in the queue. And early on, it was a bunch of my friends. So I interviewed a lot of
Okay.
CPAs. So buddies that had bought their firms from dad, from their grandfather, from buying out a partner. So I had a lot of CPAs in year one. Other than that, I was posting on like Facebook groups looking for guests for a lot, trying to explain I'm not looking for just a business owner. I'm looking for a business owner who bought the company from somebody else. That still continues to be a challenge
Yeah.
a year and a half in. But I was 2 weeks away in the busiest time of tax season, 2 weeks away from not having an episode to go live. And I only picked twice a month. So that's a pace I knew I could sustain. I felt like I
Yeah.
could sustain. 2 weeks away without a guest, and I was freaking out. I was going to miss my first podcast episode. And I guested on somebody else's show, and they hooked me up with Podmatch, which is a subscription matching service.
Mm.
And it's got a really good algorithm there, and also just the guy that runs is behind it, Alex Sanfilippo. He's actually going to be a guest on my show in December. Um,
Yeah.
I really hooked up with their vision for podcast matching and how they wanted to improve it. And within 3 weeks, I think I'd recorded 6 months worth of guests because I was
Wow.
getting matched up so clearly with who I was looking for that I recorded 12 something interviews in the span of 3 weeks. So it was awesome. And that solved that problem for me.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I'll have to check out Podmatch as well. But yeah, it's been great having you on the show. Where can people go to find a little bit more about you and what you guys do?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Leonard. So, the Art of Succession, that is on our YouTube channel. It's at GWCPAS is our YouTube channel, but you can find the Art of Succession there. You can find it on Spotify, and Apple Music, and then on LinkedIn, you can find me or the Art of Succession on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll include those links in the show notes below. Appreciate you coming on. You guys have been listening to the Business Growth Podcast. Until next time, keep growing.